Kia ora, Helen Bromsey coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're having a super fantastic sparkling day. Welcome to Before the Dirt Net podcast number 1212. Happy Thanksgiving. Yes. For those of us here in the States, we're celebrating Thanksgiving. It is a day to be grateful, but you should always start every day with a grateful heart. But things I am grateful for this year. What are you grateful for this year? Let us know in the comments below. What are the biggest things that you're grateful for? I'm grateful for family and friends. I'm grateful for where I am in life, from the growth that I have done from the beginning of the year to now. I'm grateful of the amazing place that I live in, even though it is an RV resort. It's okay. I love it here. It is absolutely fantastic. And I have to tell you, I have the best neighbors. I did a lot of study this morning. This morning I started off with normal morning routines, went for a walk, we came back, we had breakfast, and then I got in and got some stuff done, got a lot of study done, where I'm almost ready to do the evaluation, to do the assessment. And so maybe we'll get it done tomorrow night. That would be awesome, because tomorrow morning's going to be a little busy. But anyway, and so I got a lot of study done this morning. Then I was sort of like, my brain's fried. I really need to take a nap. So we went and took a nap. And just as we were about to go and take a nap, there was a knock at the door. And it was my next door neighbor asking me if I would like them to make me a plate of turkey with stuffing and gravy and mashed potatoes, the whole lot. And I said, thank you so much for the offer. I said, but I actually got stuffed chicken that I've got to cook up for Thanksgiving. And they're like, oh, okay. And I said, but I truly appreciate the offer. I got offered a Thanksgiving meal. But I have this broccoli au gratin stuffed chicken, and I have been looking forward to having this for Thanksgiving. And I said, but I truly appreciate the offer. But I've got the stuffed chicken for Thanksgiving dinner. And because, it's only just me, so I just got this portion, and, it'll do me for dinner tonight and probably breakfast tomorrow. I'm one of those, I don't care if I have cereal for dinner, that's okay. If I have cereal for lunch, that's okay. If I have leftover chicken for breakfast in the morning, that's okay. Whatever I feel like eating. So yeah, that's cooking right now. It's smelling really good. So I have to be quick with this because it'll be done in about 15 minutes. So I got a time limit for tonight. And so we had a snooze, and then I thought, okay, we've done the study. It's now time to watch The World Is Not Enough. Now, this movie is very significant in a lot of different ways. Well, in a couple of different ways. Number one, it is the 19th James Bond movie, but that's beside the point. It is Pierce Brosnan's third out of 4 movies. And yes, we are doing a double feature today. I still have to watch the end of the movie, and I'll tell you why in a sec. We got a late start on our double feature. But what I love about this movie is, this movie is very, it's very significant in a way. The title, The World Is Not Enough, we actually heard for the very first time, we heard that phrase in a James Bond movie back in, I'm going to make sure I get the right year here, 1969 on Her Majesty's Secret Service, because this is in 1969, James Bond was pretending to be this guy from the heraldry who was confirming that Blofeld's family belonged to this other Blofeld family, and then they could go claim all these fortunes and all this blah, 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 blah. And in that one, we saw the Bond coat of arms, which had the Italian saying on there. When translated, it was "The world is not enough." And so that was in 1969. So fast forward to 1999, 30 years later, they're bringing out the movie of the same name. So I thought that was really cool. The other one, when I watched this, it was Desmond Llewellyn, who has been playing Q. He first came on as Q in From Russia with Love back in I wrote all this down so I wouldn't forget. In 1963, From Russia with Love. That was the second James Bond movie. He then went on to do 17 James Bond movies and he saw 5 actors. He was in the movies with 5 different actors playing James Bond. It was Sean Connery, George Lazenby, Roger Moore, Timothy Dalton and Pierce Brosnan. And there's only one. He's been in 17 James Bond movies, and you're probably going, that doesn't sound right on the numbers, because you said number 2, and you're watching number 19. Yeah. No, that's right. He did not appear in Live and Let Die because there was no need for Q to be in there at that time. So that's the only James Bond movie he has not appeared in since From Russia with Love through to The World Is Not Enough. And it was the way he said goodbye was incredible. They brought in, he introduced James Bond to his replacement because he was going to be retiring. He was thinking of retiring. And so he brought in a young fella to replace him. Well, the young fella he brought in to replace him is none other than John Cleese. And if you follow British comedy and the Monty Python series, you will know John Cleese very well. He's an incredible actor, a lot of fun to be around, and he played a bumble. And in this, it's quite funny because in this movie, he's a little bumbling. He's kind of like James Bond is whenever he's in Q department, playing with all the toys and everything else, and just picking up things and playing with them and that sort of thing, and always getting into trouble. So, but in this one, there is I gotta see if I can find it because I totally forgot to write this down. Oh, and I'm annoyed myself I didn't write it down. Hang on, let me quickly see if I can. But what is I can't find it. There was 2 quotes that somebody wants to play toys. So this is what's this one? Oh, this is from your school series. Do you lick me? Yes or no? As you can see, she's having fun and it still squeaks. There, you can wait on that one. There was 2 quotes that Desmond Llewellyn's character Q got to say in this movie. That was basically, there's 2 things I've been trying to teach you, and I can't for the life of me right now find it, and I totally forgot to write it down. I'm going to have to find it for tomorrow. Because that's just, I'm annoyed because those are just such amazing quotes. One, I know the second one was always have an escape route, and I cannot remember what the first one was. But he leaves these. He says 2 things I've been trying to teach you all these years, and I can't remember what the first one was, but the second one was to always have an escape route. And why am I talking about this with The World Is Not Enough? Because The World Was Not Enough was released in the UK on the November 26th, I think it was. When was it released? November 26, 1999 is when it was released. 3 weeks later, Desmond Llewellyn died in a motor car accident. And I thought, how, he's brought in a replacement for him. He's brought in somebody to train him to be Q and Q branch. And of course, Pierce Brosnan says, well, if you're Q, I guess that makes him R. So, as he's, I'm not doing very well at telling the story tonight. Not been a good storyteller tonight. Hey, Zeffy. Hi, how are you? You wanting some pie? Yes, we'll tell them that story in a second. And yeah, so the fact that he had bought in a replacement, and the premiere of this was on the 26th of November, and on the 12th of December, he was killed in a car accident, or he died from the injuries resulting from a car accident. And I just thought, that's kind of, he was 85 years old. And I thought he was, that's such a, because the last scene that we see him in The World Is Not Enough is he's telling, Bond, there's these two things I'm trying to teach you. And as he says the last one, he says, always have an escape route. And with that, he pushes a button and slowly lowers down into the ground of Q Branch, into the floor of Q Branch. So that's the last we see of Desmond Llewellyn in the James Bond movie. So that was kind of like, that's one of those things when you later learned that he had passed away after that. That was the last time that you saw him in a James Bond movie. It was kind of like a hits you right here type of thing. But one thing I love in this movie is in the opening sequence. The opening sequence is long in this one. Is the boat chase on the River Thames, and he steals, and just after, oh no, that was after that. Where James Bond steals the little mini jet boat out of the Q branch straight out of the side of the building into the Thames River to go and after the assassin who was on a boat that had just blown a big hole into MI5's head office. And they do this amazing chase on the Thames River. It is awesome. I mean, the piece in this thing that really cracks me up is that this bridge has lowered, so there's no way that James Bond can get through. So he pushes his buttons and pulls his levers and all of that sort of stuff and goes down under the water, and they're showing the camera shot under the water, and he's just sitting there like holding his breath and straightens his tie and then comes back up on the other side. That piece cracks me up every time I see it because I think it's just such a really cool piece of that. So yeah, I am enjoying this movie. I have not yet finished it. I was actually partway through watching the movie when there was another knock at the door. And so I got up and it was my neighbor there. And he says, well, since you wouldn't eat turkey dinner, he says, we've brought you dessert. And it was a paper plate with a piece of pumpkin pie on there and a piece of apple pie with some whipped cream. And and covered in saran wrap. And I'm like, thank you so much. I said, that will go really well with my chicken tonight. So I'll look forward to having that for dessert. So that was so sweet. My neighbors are taking care of me. They know I'm by myself for Thanksgiving and they're taking care of me. So I am grateful for the neighbors that I have. So there's another thing to be grateful for. But it's just been a really cool day. No pressure on it. I still have to pack up Zeffie's stuff tonight because tomorrow morning's going to be rushed. We'll get up, we'll do our normal stuff. We'll go for our walk, we'll come back. I'm dropping her off at the sitters at 9 o'clock, as close to 9 o'clock as I can get, because my friend Casey's in town and there's a few of us here in Arizona that he's invited out to breakfast. And so they're starting breakfast at 9 o'clock. And I've said, look, I'm going to be late. And as it turns out, I have to go 15 minutes in that direction to drop Zeffie off. And the restaurant is 15 minutes in that direction. So then I got to drive all the way back over there to the thing. But I thought that's okay. I still have not gone and got my mail. And I suddenly realized why is because the last 2 days has been leading up to Thanksgiving. The mail place is right next to a supermarket, which is why I couldn't get, and I suddenly thought that's why I couldn't get in there the other day when I had Zeffie with me and I couldn't find a park. And so after breakfast, I'll go pick up the mail, come back here, start packing. Then I have the chat tomorrow afternoon, and as soon as that's done, it's going to be finish the packing. Actually, I won't be able to finish the packing because I got to get the laundry done, and so go do the laundry, then come back, finish packing, and get everything done in time to watch. What am I watching tomorrow night? Casino Royale, the very first Daniel Craig James Bond movie will be tomorrow night. But tonight's double feature, like I said, was going to be, Die Another Day is the second movie we're going to be watching as soon as and on this movie, I'm up to the last big major scene of the thing, where everything's coming to a head. We're getting to the end of the movie, so we've probably got about another 15, 20 minutes left on it. And then as soon as that's finished, and I can sit here and eat and watch that while it's playing out, because chicken's really messy. You can't eat chicken with a knife and fork on your lap. Sorry. But then we're going to be watching Die Another Day. Die Another Day came out in 2002, which was the 40th anniversary for the James Bond movies. First one was Dr. No in 1962. So Die Another Day came out in 2002. It was the 40th anniversary of James Bond movies. It was also the 20th James Bond movie. And what they did in this one is really, really cool. And you have to pay attention because there is tributes to the other 19 James Bond movies. There's something from every movie that will appear in this movie, be a reference to one of those previous 19 movies. And if you haven't seen it, Halle Berry comes out of the water wearing a swimsuit very close to the one worn in Dr. No. And so that's a nod to Dr. No. There's a newspaper, he's reading a newspaper at some point, and one of the newspaper headlines articles is Diamonds Are Forever. And I'm like, yes, I love this. So keep your eyes out. So if you're watching Die Another Day, it's a really cool movie. I like this one. It takes place over several years or months. Several years or months. Because it starts off with James Bond being captured and held for a while before he escapes. And then, of course, he's put in solitary confinement to make sure he's all okay and everything else. And yeah, so this one like the opening sequence takes place a few. Can't remember how long was he held for? It was long enough that he had this big bushy beard. I remember that he had this big bushy beard when he made his escape, and so then he's going after the people that had kidnapped him. He ends up going after them. But there's a lot of really cool car chases in this one, especially on the ice. They get to stay in an ice hotel, which is a hotel completely made out of ice. The beds, the walls, all the furniture is made out of ice. The doors are not. But it's this ice hotel. And I'm like, that's really cool. And then they end up doing this big car chase on the ice. Is in that movie. Oh yeah, that's the one where he goes paraskiing, I guess you would call it. It's not paragliding. Paragliding is when you're off the back of a boat. This one here, he's using the parachute and a piece of the car to skim along the water. So they have some really cool stunts in this one. I have to tell you, they have some really cool stunts in this one. So that's my double feature for tonight. So if you excuse me. And it's also Pierce Brosnan's last James Bond movie. It's his fourth movie. It's the last one that he does. And then tomorrow I start on the Daniel Craig series as James Bond with Casino Royale. And I will give you my thoughts on that movie tomorrow night. But for now, I got to go. My chicken's almost done. It's going to be beeping any minute. So have a super fantastic, sparkling rest of your evening. Enjoy your Thanksgiving if you're celebrating Thanksgiving. Let us know in the comments what you're most thankful for. If you have seen these two movies, The World Is Not Enough and Die Another Day, what are your favorite pieces out of them? And we will catch you back here tomorrow evening around 6 p.m. Pacific, I think. I know tonight I'm on really early, but it's just I got a lot of stuff to do tonight. I got to pack a dog. Yes, she's not going to be happy when I break down her crate. She's going to look at me like, what are you up to? Anyway, have a super fantastic, sparkling evening, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow. Hey, konara.